Hello, 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 children of the Most High God. Wow, I'm so excited to come to you once again this beautiful day, a day that our God has given unto us, that we should be glad and rejoice in it. If you're not glad because of this day, I don't know what you're doing. We are supposed to rejoice. And you know what? I came to realize that every single day, God opens a day for us. He gives us a chance to mend our ways. He's giving us a chance to draw closer to Him. He's giving us a chance even to mend our relationship with Him. And it really amazes me. It really gives me hope. Every day I wake up, I know this is another chance that God is giving me to draw nearer to Him, to draw closer to Him. It is a privilege, it is an honor even to have such an opportunity to come to you, child of God, brethren, even to speak to you about this great God, to speak to you about our Father, about our Maker. And you know what? He is speaking to us about everything. He's talking to us about everything. You know, in this book, the Bible, everything is written here. There is nothing that God is leaving outside. There is nothing that is not important to God. Everything is important to our God, and He's speaking to us about everything and anything. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't get worried. Don't start wondering, how am I going to know this? Where am I going to learn this? What does God say about this? Everything is in the Word of God. And today I'm so excited. I'm so excited because God is talking to us about something that is really on our neck right now. It is just season. It is on this season. Today, God is giving us a season, a message of season. Uh, right now, everywhere, worldwide, worldwide, people are going through economical challenges. Things have taken a shift economically. Like, life has become so hard on people everywhere. Everywhere. I've been hearing from all around the world, people struggling with life. You know, things are growing so difficult. Life is becoming so unbearable. And I've realized people are really crying in certain areas, in some countries. People are dying of drought, famine, you know, economic struggles, financial struggles. And you might think that God is not interested with our financial life. You might think that God is not interested with our economical life. I want to shock you today that God is interested with everything about us. Everything that goes on in our lives, God is very interested, and He wants to get involved fully. It's just us to allow Him to get involved in our lives and in our situations. And today I'm coming to you with a message from our God, and He's telling us, he wants us to know how to transform our financial life, how to transform our financial life. How can you transform your financial, even fortune, in hard times? You know, some people just sit there, stagnant, stuck. They're like, you know, things are hard. Things are hard. There's no money. You know, things are hard, and they're just stuck there. But today I come to you and I want to talk to you on how to transform your financial fortune in hard times. Because the times right now are hard. Things are hard. Super, super hard. And everywhere, Go everywhere. There is nowhere people are talking about smoothness and comfort and things that is going smoothly. No, everywhere, worldwide, people are going through these challenges and the times are hard everywhere. But there is a way we can transform our financial fortune in this hard time. In this hard time. And you want to look in the Bible. There is a story, and this is the time of Elisha. In the book of First Kings, if you go to your Bible, in the book of First Kings, chapter 7, and this is the time of Prophet Elisha, when there was drought and famine. Times were so hard. There was no food. And it was so bad to an extent that people started eating each other. If you read that story, you'll realize there are certain women who even resolved to eating their own children because there was no food, there was famine, things were so hard, and they could not do anything. That was the only thing they resolved, they thought of doing. They saw their children and they saw a prey. They saw food. They could look at kids, they see food. Because there was no food, it was hard. Things were so difficult. And during this time, there were lepers. And during those days, lepers were considered unclean and they could not mingle with people. They were separated, they were considered outcasts. So if you had leprosy, you could not stay with people in the same place. So they used to stay outside the city because they were not allowed to mingle with the rest. They were considered unclean. So we're going to read in the book of 2 Kings, the book of 2 Kings, chapter number 7. I'll start from verse 3 and verse 4. And it says, now there were 4 lepers. Now there were 4 lepers, men at the entrance of the gate. There were 4 leper men at the entrance of the gate. This shows that they could not go in. They could not stay in the gate, inside the city. They lived outside the gate. So there were 4 lepers in the entrance of the gate, and they said to one another, why are we sitting here until we die? Why are we sitting here until we die? Because they were outside the city. Even though in the city there was famine, the times were difficult, but they were outside and they were going through more challenges. They could not get anything to eat. So they said one to another, they asked each other, why are we sitting here until we die? Because they were just sitting doing nothing. They're just there doing nothing. And they continue to saying one to another, if we say we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. So if they stay out of the gate, out of the city, they will sit there and they will die. And if they say they enter the city, there is famine there, they will equally die of hunger. So, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall only die. So this was a situation whereby in the city there was famine. And outside the city, there was a camp of the Syrians, who were the enemy. Who were the enemy of the people in the city. So they were in between, where they are outside the gate. They're still famished, they're hungry, but they can't do anything. So they talk to one to another, asking, if we go into the city, there is famine there, we are going to die. And outside here, on the other side, there is the camp of the enemy. If we go there, they can equally kill us. But why do we sit here until we die? So the message here is, don't die sitting doing nothing. Because we realize they've resolved that let us go to the camp of the Syrians. Because in the camp of the Syrians, they are at a risk of being killed by the Syrians. But in the camp of the Syrians, there is food. There is food. So it is all about taking action and taking that risk. Because they will, if they sit here, they're doing nothing and they will die doing nothing. So on the other side, it is risky, yes, but there is food. So they resolve, let us go in the camp of the Syrians, where there is food, though there is a risk of us being killed by the Syrians. Just like right now, many people are faced with financial difficulties, while some know how to maneuver around the situation and get through it, but others simply suffer. So many people suffer under the weight of this pressure, of financial pressure, financial difficulties. But financial transformation is also possible, even at a time of famine, even at a time of difficulties. It is possible for you to have that financial breakthrough at these difficult times. Because even the lepers, the 4 lepers, they knew it is possible for them to get food even in the middle of the famine. Because they knew the Syrians had food. But there is a risk of them dying there. But it is possible for them to get out alive and get food. So even in your situation right now, where you feel like it is so difficult, there is no way out, there is no way through, but I'm coming to you and telling you that today, I'm telling you that there is a way. You can get a breakthrough. It is possible for you to get a breakthrough even in this time, in these difficult times. The story of the 4 lepers gives us a classic example. I call it a classic example of how to transform your financial fortune in the hard times. Because they were in between situations, and difficult situations for that matter. And they didn't know how to come out of the situation. The same way you are in between financial situations and you don't know how to come out of that financial situations. The same way. And there was a serious crisis in Israel by then. Just the way there is a serious crisis in our today life. Because the Syrians had blocked all economic channel into the nation in such a way that the economy of Israel was collapsed. The enemy had blocked. The situations right here, our economy are blocked. The situation is so difficult, and sometimes you feel like we are at that point of our economy collapsing all over the world. The governments became broke, and the citizens started eating themselves. People boiling children and eating them. Just like right now, people are doing things, unspeakable things, because of financial challenges. The same way, And it was in the same environment that the 4 lepers employed the power of mind to transform their financial fortune. The 4 lepers employed the power of mind. The power of mind to transform the financial fortune. They sat down and thought, said one to another, because they were just seated, they were not doing anything there. And they said, like, okay, they reasoned. If you read that story, you'll realize they just reasoned one to another, mind power, and asked each other, why do we sit here until we die? Why should we sit here until we die? Let us do something, let us think. And why should you sit there in that financial challenge until you die? Why should you just sit there until you die, just because things are hard, just because things are difficult? Why should you stay there until you crumble, until you crash? And this is where, even in our situation, let us apply the power of mind, just the way the 4 lepers applied the power of mind. Firstly, these lepers decided that they were not going to sit and die. That is the first thing they decided. They decided, no, we just can't sit and die here. We can't just sit and die here of hunger. We have to do something. They made a choice. That they must survive. Anyhow is anyhow. They just have to survive and move forward financially. And today, don't sit in that situation. Just because times are hard, just because there are no jobs, just because there are no opportunities, you can't just sit there. You just can't sit there. You must make a choice that anyhow is anyhow. You just have to come through. You just have to come through that situation. A quality decision to do something about your financial situation is the first step to turning things around. A quality decision to do something about your financial situation is the first step to turning things around. First step is make that decision. Just the way the lepers made that first decision that they're not going to sit there until they die. They're not going to sit there doing nothing until they die. That is a quality decision that they made. And it was the first step for them coming out of that situation, for them coming out of famine, for them getting something to feed themselves. That is the first thing, the first step to turning things around in your life. Because these lepers did not deny the reality. They did not deny the fact that this side there was famine. This side it was dangerous. They did not deny the reality. They accepted, yes, it is difficult. Yes, it seems like it is not possible. They accepted. The same way, yes, accept. Yes, the times are hard. Yes, there are no jobs. Yes, it is difficult. Don't deny the situation, just the way the lepers did not deny the reality of the economy happenings. So do not deny the reality of the economy happenings around you. But instead, the lepers thought about what option were available for them in the midst of the famine. They thought about the options available for them in the midst of the famine. Thinking about options available for you in the midst of the hard times, in the midst of economic crisis, in the midst of lack and scarcity. Think about options. Look around you. Think about options available for you in that hard time, because there must be an option. If there were options for the lepers, there must be an option for you. In that situation that you are in that situation, in the situation that your country is in at the moment, in the situation of the economy of your country at the moment, there must be options. So think of options available for you. Don't sit and die. Don't sit and die in poverty. Don't sit and die in lack and scarcity. No, make that quality decision not to die in that situation. And think of options available for you. Just the way the lepers did. They thought of options available for them in the midst of the famine. In the midst of every financial difficulties, there are always options available. But the challenges with the most people is that they use the famine as an excuse to do nothing and simply complain about the situation. Like, you take advantage of the economical situation. You take advantage of your financial situations, of the challenges, just to sit and do nothing. And the only good thing you can do is to complain about the situation. Right now, all over the world, people are singing the same song. Times are hard. Times are hard. You know, things are expensive. The same song. They're singing. They've turned their complaining into songs. So instead of getting options, instead of looking for options available for you in that situation, you take advantage of that situation to sit and do nothing and complain. Why are you not working? Why are you jobless? There are no jobs. This country, you know how this country is. There are no jobs. Jobs are not there. Why is your living standard so low? Even you can see the situation in our country. The things are so difficult. Things have height. That is the best people do. They take advantage of the situation just to complain and to do nothing. But today I come to encourage you that you decide not to remain on your level of income. Decide not to remain there. Then spend time to think of what you can do different from what you have been doing before. Think. The lepers had been just sitting outside the gate. But they decided to think of something that they can do different from just sitting there and waiting for handouts from people who are coming in and out. They decided, no, we cannot sit here any longer. They used to sit there. That was their sitting place. They dwelt there. But they decided we are going to do something different from what we have been doing. We've been sitting here just receiving handouts and depending on passerby, people who are passing for us to feed. But no, we are not going to sit here anymore. We are going to do something different. The same way, for you to change your situation, decide to do something different. Whatever you've been doing has been giving you that lifestyle that you're complaining about right now, but decide to do something different from what you've been doing. That makes you live in scarcity, makes you live in lack, makes you live in poverty. There is always an option. Think of something. We've been told that the lepers use the mind power to think of something different, and they decided to do something different from what they've been doing before, rather than just sitting there. And now the lepers decided, even though it is risky, there is food there. Even though it is dangerous, but there is food there. If we say we enter into the city, yes, it is not dangerous, but there is no food, there is famine. But on the camp, it is dangerous and very risky, but there is food. You will think of doing something very comfortable for you, which does not give you anything or does not give you much. But if you decide to take that risk, but it is worth it. So the lepers decided to move into the camp of the Syrians, doing something different from sitting there at that gate of Samaria. They decided, just waiting for mercy and drops from people who were passing by. They decided that if we continue sitting here, waiting for mercy from people, and those people who are waiting for mercy from, they're also dying of hunger because there is famine in Samaria. We will die here. Let's do something different. And they decided to move into the camp of the Syrians. If you're unemployed or your business is not getting well, you need to wake up today. You need to wake up today. On the fact that if you continue sitting where you are, if you continue sitting where you sit and not do something different, the hardship will affect you badly. If you continue sitting there and saying there are no jobs, business is hard, there will be more hardship for you. So wake up, and to turn around your financial situation, dare to do something different. Because if you do the same thing, you'll get the same results. But if you dare to do something different, you'll get a different results from what you've been getting back there when you were doing just the same thing. So the lepers thought of moving into the city, but they felt the famine. Famine was in the city of Samaria. And if they sat where they were, they'll still die of hunger. The only option left for them was to do what? To go into the camp of the Syrians, which obviously was very dangerous. And there was a risk of being killed. But the moment you decide to do something different, God will never disappoint you. because great is his faithfulness. Just the way the lepers opted to go to the dangerous place. They took a dangerous option of going into the camps of the Syrians because it had the potential of solving their problems. They knew the camp of the Syrians had the potential of solving their financial problem, their hunger problem, though there was the risk of being killed by the Syrians. But deep in your mind lies an option. Take some time to think. Choose an option of what to do and start doing it. Because there is always an option that will help you out of that situation. If you continue reading that story, when the lepers went to the camp, and they rose, if we go to verse 5, it says, and they rose at the twinkling to go to the camp of the Syrians. And when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise, no one was there. They decided to go, to take the risk. If we die, let us die. But there is a potential. The camp of the Syrians is a potential of solving our financial problems. We will go. But when they went, to their surprise, there was no one. Those Syrians that they feared will kill them, they were not there. But they left everything. The silver, the gold, the spoils, the food, everything was left there. But the enemy was not there. So when you make a decision to move forward and you move forward with God, God is going to chase away your enemies. That is where He prepares a way for you. Don't just sit in that situation and complain. Stand up, make that decision, move forward. Tell God, I'm making this decision. Walk it with me. Each and every step, make it with me. God is going to go before you. Just the way God did with the lepers. He went and chased the Syrians, and the Syrians left everything. Let us see what happened. How did these Syrians leave the camp and left everything behind? Verse 6, it says, for the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, the noise of a great army. So they said to one another, look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egypts to attack us. God caused the enemy to hear noises that did not exist. They heard noises of horses, chariots, and they thought to themselves, these people whom we came to attack, the Israelites, they might have hired another army to come and attack us. So they ran away. So they thought to themselves that these are the people who are coming to attack us. So they thought that the Israel had called the Hittites and the kings of Egypt to attack them, and they were afraid. And all these things were happening for the sake of the lepers, not for any other thing, for the sake of the lepers. So if you decide to make a move a different move. God will make things to happen for your sake because of that decision that you've made. If the lepers would have not decided to move to the camp of the Syrians, the Syrians will not have moved. God would not have caused them to hear noises of people coming to attack them. But because God heard the cry of the lepers, God saw the desires of their hearts. God saw how they decided to take the risk so that they will live. God prepared for them. So God made the Syrians hear the noises of chariots and horses and those everything for these lepers, for them to pave way for the lepers. If you make that decision, if you stand up from that comfort zone, if you stand up from that situation that have been putting you down, and you make a decision of moving forward, God is going to prepare a way for you. God is going to chase every enemy that is holding that breakthrough. God is going to make the Syrians leave the camp and leave everything for you there. Just make that decision. Just make that decision today, and you will not die in that financial situation. 7 says, therefore they arose and fled at twilight and left the camp intact, their tents. If you're employed, make that decision to move. Put God first. You will find God has prepared for you. The Syrians are going to leave things intact for you. 8. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and ate and drank and carried from it silver and gold and clothing and went and hid them. Then they came back and entered another tent and carried some from there also and went and hid it. They took. Now everything was there. It is just for them to carry. Eat. They were so hungry, they were famished, and they now chose what to eat, which tent to eat from. And they took silver and gold. That is wealth. That is wealth, man. That is wealth. And hid them. And this leper became rich. They were outcasts, sitting on the gates, waiting for mercies, waiting for people to give them handouts. But when they made a decision, see how rich these lepers became. Just because of that one decision they made, not to sit there and die. Because of that one decision they made, that we are going to go. No matter how risky it is, no matter how difficult it is, we are going to go. See how their life turned out. That business, don't stay there, even if because it is not bringing anything, because the economy is not. Don't sit there because the economy is not doing well. Make that decision to come. Make that decision today to move out. Come out. And trust me, God is going to prepare that way for you. God is going to make things ready for you. Just take that decision. Make that risk. Let's continue. Then they say to one another, we are not doing right. This day is a day of good news, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore, come, let us go and tell the kings